Are case hits in the hockey card world underappreciated or underwhelming? We discuss that and more in episode 44 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. This is episode 44 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. This is a weekly show diving deep into the world of hockey card collecting, flipping, and investing. Just a reminder that this podcast is free and available on Spotify in addition to YouTube for all you on-the-go listeners. I'm your host, Mike DiStefano, a.k.a. Mickey Canuck on Instagram, at Mickey_Canuck on Twitter. And that's my man, Brandon Moore, joining me back in the co-host chair once again. Happy to have you back, buddy. Happy to talk some hockey cards again.
Glad to be here always.
Absolutely. Before we get into the card talk, I suppose, I mean, we are in the midst of the Stanley Cup final. Both of us massive hockey fans. We just watched the Florida Panthers lay an absolute beatdown on the Oilers, 6-1 in Game 3. What'd you make of that game?
That was bad. That was really bad. I wasn't expecting a game like that for sure.
Well, the first two games go to overtime, and it was the thinnest of margins that decided those two. And then all of a sudden, the Edmonton Oilers forget how to play hockey, and they just get into an absolute muckfest with the Panthers, and they're not going to win that game. Like they're not going to. They got to find out. They got to find a way to bounce back in Game 4. That's for sure, and stay out of the box. They gave Florida 11 penalties. You give a team 11 power plays in a game, you're probably not going to win very often. And it's more likely the score will end up 6-1 than 2-1 in your favor when that happens.
Yeah, you can't be taking penalties like that.
No.
Also, you need. Well, we know this. At least I know this. Stuart Skinner is bad.
I wouldn't blame Skinner for that game though. Like, yeah, there's a couple of saves you obviously want him to make. But honestly, I felt that the team completely hung him out to dry. Like, think about how many breakaways this guy's had to face in this series alone. Like, it feels like just defensively as a team that they've kind of lost their structure in this series against Florida. They don't look the same as they did when they clamped down the Edmonton Oilers, or they clamped down the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. So they got to figure out a way to play better in front of him in Game 4. Or this could be a quick series, and none of us want that. We all want this thing to go 7, right?
Well, I predicted 7. You're the one who said Edmonton in 5, so I don't know how that's not looking too good right now.
Well, it's mathematically impossible at this point for that to happen. So now I want Edmonton in 7. I said 5 because I wanted them to win on home ice, and they could still make that happen with a Game 7 victory. So I'll hold hope. I will say this: there's one stat that I'm holding hope to. The Edmonton Oilers, games 4 through 7, since Chris Knobloch took over as head coach, the last 2 years, they've made 2 runs to the Stanley Cup. They are 18-2 in games 4 through 7. So that's in their favor. They seem to pick up steam as they start to learn more about their opponents, and then they start to really pick those opponents apart. So is that possible against the Panthers? Perhaps not. That they're a pretty damn good hockey club. But there's still hope for that cup drought to end here in Canada. I don't think it's over quite yet. One game will not. I won't waver on my support with Edmonton after one game. Speaking of the Stanley Cup final, why don't we start with talking about what it's done to the hockey card market? Who do you think has had the biggest uptick within these playoffs through until this point in the Stanley Cup final?
I mean, the one guy right off the bat is Sam Bennett, man. Like, that guy's currently the favorite MVP on DraftKings and all the other betting sites. Definitely that guy for sure.
Sam Bennett, you'd be correct. At the start of the playoffs, you could get his Future Watch Auto for $45. $45 for Sam Bennett, just a raw Future Watch Auto. One sold a few days ago for $98. So it's doubled. Yeah, it's doubled on his journey here. And I think even then that's like a little bit of a lowish price for a guy like Sam Bennett. I don't know. I still think there's a lot of Bennett cards that need to catch up, because I the other day I was at a show. I picked up a Sam Bennett rookie auto, number 249, but it's like a black diamond placard. It's hard signed. It's like one of the, actually, I have it here if I can find it.
Yeah, let's see it.
quickly. I can actually here it is. Boom, right there. One of these things,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So it's a really nice card, right? It's black diamond, so it's a decent set. $40. $40 for this thing. And I think it even sells for like 30-ish, where it's comping at. But it just seems too cheap and too underpriced for where and what he's been able to do. So that's a guy I'm with you. I think that market for sure is on the up and up. And again, you look at one of the staple rookies, the Future Watch Auto, it's doubled since the playoffs. So he certainly is one. Brad Marchand is another one that we've seen quite a big boost. And it's interesting because when he got traded from Boston to Florida, a lot of his market kind of, I wouldn't say it tanked, but it went down. Like, I don't know if you recall, but Brad Marchand last year, like he was going for about 800 plus in a PSA 10 Young Guns. And a lot of that is because, well, it's an older Young Gun, so there's not a whole lot of them. It's a low pop, but it was also a really tough year to 10. So it is a super low pop. And they were going for like 8 something. And now they've gone way back up. They were down to about 450. There's a 442 sale on April 7th, just before the playoffs started for PSA 10 Young Guns and Brad Marchand. There was a sale yesterday at 685. So they've gone right back up to where they should be with the performance that he's had. So again, hype drives the hobby, and these are two guys that are driving the Florida Panthers right now. So it's really no surprise that their markets have had a nice little uptick here in the last couple of months en route to this Cup final.
Yeah, definitely. Brad Marchand, he's a household name, right? So guys are always going to be buying him. He's a popular player. He's a pass. People like those players, and he scores clutch goals too, as we've seen against my Leafs and against the Oilers.
Which one of those two players would you rather on the Leafs, Sam Bennett or Brad Marchand? Both free agents this summer.
Probably
calling.
Probably Bennett, mainly because of age, because he's younger, right?
He is younger, yeah. Like Bennett's, I think Ben will be 29 like next week or something like that. So
okay, he's not that much then, but
he's younger. Like, I think Marchand's almost 30 or almost 40, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's like mid to late 30, 37 or something like that. So there's quite a big difference age-wise, but Marchand clearly still got it. I mean,
he does.
Literally just scored 2 breakaway goals the other night against the Edmonton Oilers. So he still got it. You want to bring in a winning DNA, and that's what Tree Living wants to do to Toronto. Well, either of them would be a nice option, but I'm not sure if either want to come to Toronto, but we'll see. On the other side of the coin, the other side of the ice, as expected, Connor McDavid's market has continued to thrive, and I'll be curious to see where it goes from here now that they've lost game 3, and they're down 2-1, and their implied probability of winning this is like 30% at this point. But there were sales on June 9th ahead of game 3. It got to as high for his PSA 10 Young Gun. It got to as high as $4,500. That's up from $3,000 at the start of the playoffs. So that's a 50% increase since the start of the playoffs for Connor McDavid and his PSA 10 Young Guns market.
Yeah, I mean, it's McDavid, right? Like, he's the best player right now, maybe ever.
Possibly, but I do recall, was it last week? We jumped on and we did a pod and it was right ahead of the playoffs, and he was going for, I think it was like 3,800 at the time. Right before. And I asked you, is that a hold or is that a sell? You said it was a sell. I said it was a hold. I think right now there might be a winner with that competition. I'm just saying. I think right now you'd be looking to possibly move off of it. If you can get 45, because it probably, if he wins, like, what do you think that could get to if he actually wins? Like, how much further could it go? I suppose probably get to 5K, I would say.
Yeah, 5.5. I was thinking.
You think it get to 5.5? Do you think it gets that high?
If he wins and gets the Conn Smythe, which he if they win, he would get it.
Yeah.
The
thing is, though, like, and this is a conversation that needs to be had also. Like, who still needs a McDavid card that doesn't have one? Right?
Me.
But are you going to go buy it at 55? Or are you going to wait?
No, I'll be waiting.
Exactly.
Sure.
So I don't know. It is interesting. I always I'm of the belief that you sell before the achievement happens because the hype is always the bigger selling point than doing it itself. So like right now, there's still an opportunity. Like at 4,500, that seems like a sell. Like if you bought this on April 13th, whoever bought it, it was a slab shark sale at 3,000, just a touch over $3,000 on April 13th. And if you could cash out at 4,500. I think now's your chance. I think you're happy with that profit because I think there's just as likelihood that it goes back down to the low threes than it does into the high fives. And I'll take my 15 profit and run. I think that's where I'd be at right now. I'd be a sell on McDavid.
Yeah, easy. And you look back at the Ovechkin Young Guns, right? Like the same thing. His market was up, and then he hit the record, and it came back down to earth, right?
You can you can go back and look at how high they got. Like you could go back and look, they got up to like 7, 8, 9,000 for a PSA 10. And now, I mean, I don't know if you're taking a look at it or if you're on Card Ladder, but I'd be shocked if it's over 5K for a PSA 10 Ovechkin right now. I'd imagine it's dipped back down into the fours.
Yeah, from last time I saw, I think they were close to that for sure. Let me check right now. Yeah, last sale 43.
Boom. There you go. And what were the sales? What were the sales back in was it like late March, early April when he set the record? I'd imagine that they got up into the 7s, 8s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a April 18th sale at almost 7, 6, 6, 3, 7, 7,000 pretty much.
Yeah, Canadian. So it's gone back down like 3K, almost cut in half, pretty much.
I know.
Not quite, but almost. And that's hype. And there's no Ovechkin hype right now, and you could pick those things up relatively cheap. And which is funny because every goal he scores from this point forward is technically a record-setting goal, right?
Yep.
Like 896, 897, 898. Eventually, he's going to score 900. It'll be the only player ever to score 900. I think that might be another chance for that card to have a hobby moment when that gets to 900. I think if he scores 900 goals, which he's going to do, he already said he's coming back. So Ovi might be a buy again. If you can pick him up at 4K this summer, that might be a worthwhile buy because you got, you waited for the hype to settle, and then I think there's another chance that it has a little boost next year when it gets to 900. I think actually just a real quick like buy, sell, hold. I hope he might be a buy at 4,300 if that's what last comp is.
Yeah, I'd be buying for sure. He just looked different, and I feel like he's going to do it again. At least maybe not exactly like he did this season, but pretty close.
Yeah. All right, let's get into what we wanted to discuss today's conversation. And it's whether or not it's a conversation about case hits. And it's something that you and I were discussing. We set up at a show this past week in Niagara Falls, and I was able to actually show the card that sparked the conversation. But we were talking about doubloons, which are quasi case hits, technically for Allure. You're guaranteed one. You might get a second, but they're almost case hits. Yeah, you got a Panarin there, and I picked up a Matt Sundin Allure over the weekend, and they're just super cheap for case hits. And it got us talking and thinking about, the fact that why are case hits so undervalued in the hockey card hobby? Because it's not just the doubloons for Allure. There are so many case hits out there that we went down a rabbit hole last night. We're going to present all of this data to you and this information to you in a moment. Brandon, went full investment or investigator on us last night, and he'll show the information to you guys. But there are so many cards that I just did not have a clue that were considered case hits or that were so hard to pull, that are essentially valueless. And I guess the questions that we want to kind of uncover throughout the conversation we have on today's podcast, I guess, we need to first establish why are these case hits so underappreciated and underrated? Or are they just underwhelming? I think that's a possible conversation that could be had as well. Like, does Upper Deck need to do a better job of finding an insert, a case hit insert that people care about, or more of them at the very least?
Yeah.
I think that's a very worthwhile conversation as well. But let's get to the crux of the argument here, because like I said, we were doing some investigative journalism, looking up what some case hits are. And there's just so many that are out there that we don't even know about, or we didn't know about, that I'm sure most of the hobby is unaware that that maybe certain cards that they had pulled in the past are case hits. And I think that's a problem. And I think that it really shows that there's like a lack of awareness, I suppose, within hockey and the hobby when it comes to case hits and the checklists. And like, why is that, Brandon? Like, why do you think we are, as a hobby, so clueless to case hits? Because when you think back to other sports, right? You think back to football and basketball and what, like, people know what their case hits are, and people love their case hits, right? The uptowns, the downtowns, right? You've got the kabooms, right? And I'm not just talking about, in hockey, okay, you clearly have a couple. You're talking about shield hunting. People do that. There's RPAs, your rookie RPAs and your autos and stuff. But it seems like the other sports have done a really good job of marketing non-memorabilia inserts and short prints. Like hockey, it's almost as if everybody's wants or is chasing after autos and RPAs and memorabilia patches.
Yeah, it's definitely, hockey's definitely different when it comes to like I call them the insert case hits, I guess. Like the doubloons, there's the 16-bit, which I think is new from, what was it, last year?
They've been around for quite some time now, but it is an allure as well.
Yeah, it was the stitched I was thinking of. Those are the new ones. Yeah,
the cross stitched ones.
Cross stitched, whatever. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah. But yeah, I feel like it's just a lack of like knowledge on the case hits. I feel like there's a lack of how do you say, creators in the hockey hobby. Like there's not enough people pulling it or showing them off or pushing them, kind of thing, like they do with the kabooms and the color blasts and the downtowns.
Yeah, another one, color blast, another one that's highly sought after in those other markets that not necessarily here. Like when you think case hits in hockey, like what comes to your mind right away?
If I didn't know about the doubloons, I wouldn't have an answer for you off the top of my head.
But like any product, like has anything come to mind for you?
For in hockey?
Yeah.
Yeah, just what you were saying, like the RPAs and stuff like that, or autos.
Right. Like they like cup RPAs, right? Like that's a massive hit, right? Or Young Guns high glosses, or exclusives, clear cuts, like stuff like that. Like, okay, those ones, I guess you would consider, case hits, right? If you're getting those cards. But there's not the insert case hits, those short prints that are highly sought after in other sports that necessarily don't make their way into the hockey card hobby. And I think it goes to exactly what you were alluding to, and it's just the lack of awareness, I think, of this stuff in the hockey hobby. And I think it comes down to just what you said. The influencer culture is not quite as strong in hockey like it is in the other sports, and breaking culture. I think the lack of breaking culture in hockey is mainly, I think that's the biggest one, actually. Like you think about it when you're watching, these breaks down in the States, and they're breaking football, basketball, baseball. They know exactly what they're looking for. And the second it comes, right, whether it's a gold vinyl or it's a Pandora, or it's like
skin.
Snake skin. There's so many different parallels and inserts, and they're celebrated when they're hit. There are some things in hockey that you're watching a hockey break, and if the person isn't aware, which usually you're not unless you do a deep dive into each and every checklist, you may not even realize that it's a super short print, or that's that hard of a pull. It might just look like a regular insert. And there's a couple here that we want to show you, I think, that really exemplifies that. So, Brandon, you did some research last night. What are some examples that we're referring to? Some of those cards that Upper Deck just simply has not, it just hasn't done a good job when it comes to marketing their hits that are super hard to pull and should be worth more, should be more highly sought after and highly appreciated, that just simply aren't.
Well, I'll start off with the biggest one to me would be the impressions. Like those are 1 in 10 cases.
What product is that?
That's a lure.
Okay.
1 in 10 cases, and like the sales on it are like crazy low. Like there's an Ovechkin one that last sold at $340. And it's actually lower than the 16-bit, which is 1 in 5 cases at $500. So like the impressions are almost impossible to hit, I'd say.
Yeah, so I'm pulling one up now. I'm gonna try and pull one up. It's a Connor McDavid one. It just makes sense because we're in McDavid mode, being in the midst of the Stanley Cup Finals. But so here's a Connor McDavid. So there's expressive intentions, impressions. That's it's the exact same thing. I don't know why. Well, it's like the checklist says impressions. But
impressions. That's another thing. Like people pull this thinking the case hit is impressions, but instead it says expressive intentions on the card.
Yeah,
like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. It's super bizarre, and I don't know why this ended up being that case. But this is a $300 card. That was the sale of this card right here. And we say it's 1 in 10 cases.
10 cases, yeah. Every 10 cases.
Every 10 cases. And how much is a case of Allure, Brandon?
So a whole case is $3K. So there's 2 9-box inners, and the whole thing is $3,000.
So $3K is kind of your buy price. So you would have to buy 10 of those cases and spend $30,000 to get an expressive intentions. And you would be lucky to get McDavid, but there are other ones. There's an Alexis Lafreniere is on the checklist. There's an Ovechkin. There was another one I saw. There's actually a couple of people at the show we were at this past weekend that had a couple as well. There's a Panarin, Jack Hughes, like it's a case hit that, again, you have to literally spend $30,000 in cases to get one. And a Jack Hughes only goes for $300, or that's what it's listed at. A Connor McDavid only goes for $300. All right, an Ovi $300. Right now, you could get a Cale Makar one right now as a buy it now for like 2 and change, like 2 something. So this is a perfect example of Upper Deck has not done nearly a good enough job in marketing what's considered a case hit and what people want. And this is just, again, a really good example of what we're talking about here.
And like if you're comparing it to like the Kabooms or the Downtowns, like the Mahomes, I would say is like the McDavid of right now
for sure.
His Downtown and Kabooms are in the $1,000-$1,200 range. So like that's such a massive difference.
Yeah, like we're talking 25%. And I get it, the markets are different. There's more money in those markets, but again, it's not even the cost factor for me. It's more the awareness. Like everyone knows what a Kaboom is. True. I had never heard of an impressions until this weekend. Like that's and like I'm in this hobby. Like I'm pretty, like I've been very cemented in it in the last 5 years. Like I open product, I watch box breaks, I'm buying cards all the time, buying collections, buy, sell, trade, whatever. I've never come across an impressions. Like that just goes to show how difficult these cards actually are to pull. And like I said, you got to buy 10 cases to get one. That's going to cost someone $30,000.
Yeah.
And if you pull the Connor McDavid one of that, you're only going to make $300 on it. That's insane. Absolute insanity.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's crazy. What's another case hit that's undervalued and underappreciated in the market?
Well, there's the holo types from Flagship. So like a product everybody rips.
Yes.
Constantly, young, old, doesn't matter. You rip Flagship, Series 1, Series 2 extended. And they're holotypes, so they're 1 in 3.5 cases. I didn't even know they existed until I was doing this research.
So it's funny you say that. I did know that they existed, and I did know that they were short printed. I didn't realize they were that short. I thought they were case hits, not 3.5 cases per. But these are the cards that we're talking about here. Actually, let me switch it over to this tab here. So I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but remember earlier I was saying some people don't even know what they hit. Like you're watching a break, and all of a sudden, someone comes across a holotype, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and they keep going past, just thinking it's a regular insert because it's got the same kind of color and shine. It's got the same look as like all the other inserts. You know what I mean? Like there's that NHL Shield hologram in the back. Like I think that's supposed to be the big difference of what this is.
Maybe,
but unless you know, a lot of people I'm sure have go check your bulk or your bulk inserts. Like did you not tell me literally last night? You're like, I'm going to check my box because I may have seen something like this and went right past it.
Yep, I literally, as soon as I saw that and I sent it to you, I went right to my boxes, because I have a quarter bin. Like this, well, Bedard wouldn't be in my quarter bin, but lower end players would probably be in my quarter
like
bin.
a Mark Stone, which is someone that you can also get for right now $80, right, for this case hit.
Yeah,
and we're talking about a Connor Bedard. I understand his market's not nearly where it was a year ago, but a Connor Bedard case hit for $180, it's still pretty solid when you think about it.
And pretty sure is that the rookie year or is that this year's?
No, it's second year. It's second. Okay. This was out of this was out of Series 1, right? So this is the second year insert. But yeah, so go check your bulk, people. You may have inserts that you had no idea were considered case hits that are even stuff like the Pink Dazzlers, right? Like a Pink Dazzler is, I think there's 2 per case technically. I believe is the actual numbers, but still, like it's 2 per case, yet there is zero care in the world for this card. And honestly, usually, outside of like release, you can walk into a card store and look through their dollar bins, and you'll see every color Dazzler that's there: pink, blue, green, orange, whatever color. A Dazzler's a Dazzler, and a year later they're just considered any regular common Dazzler, but it's not.
They're all treated the same,
but it's a case hit, and people don't know that, which I find to be wild.
Yeah, it doesn't. I didn't. I think you told me when I ripped one from a hobby last year. You're like, "Oh, that's a case hit." I'm like, I had no idea. Literally, not a clue.
But that also goes back to the question that I kind of posed earlier too. Like, is it underappreciated, underrated, or could it be that they're underwhelming? Like a Pink Dazzler, it doesn't really do anything for me.
No,
it's considered a big hit, but no one really cares about it. It's like, why bother? And there's another, I believe it's an extended too. Did you know that you can get autos at a flagship? Were you aware of this?
Yes, but I knew they're super hard to hit.
So incredibly hard to hit, like multiple cases to hit an auto. The autos that you hit in this product though are so junk. Like I'm gonna look it up quickly just so that I have the exact names, but this, like, they're called Snow Spray, I believe. Snow Spray autos, Upper Deck. So like Alex Turcotte is a guy. Michael Eismont is a player that you can get in 24-25. Like, who is this? Ridley Gregg, like second year autograph. Like they're it's not even on card either. It's sticker autos, but these are incredibly hard to get, and they're considered case hits. But honestly, who cares? Like, I think it's underwhelming is the word that I would use for that. Like, okay, you gave me an auto, that's considered a case hit, but like it's Alex Turcotte. It's like a 4th year Alex Turcotte. This guy's barely in the NHL. It's a 2nd year Ridley Gregg auto. It's a sticker auto. You're considering it a case hit? No, I don't care for that. Give me a high gloss, you know what I mean? So I think you can also blame a little bit Upper Deck. Well, a lot of it actually. For the lack of awareness, for one, and I don't think they market them as well as they should. But also, some of these are just underwhelming. Like, that's a case hit that I really don't think anyone cares about. Like, do you care to get a short printed Alex Turcotte sticker auto at a flagship?
No, it's almost insulting.
Right? Like
right?
it is. It's crazy. Like Jared Spurgeon. Like I don't care about a Jared Spurgeon auto. I don't think anyone outside of Minnesota does. Even if they're super, super short print, there's 5 to 10 of these in the world. No one cares. Nobody cares at all. And I think that's a secondary issue when we talk about these case hits. Like, yeah, some are underrated and some are appreciated, but some are just flat out underwhelming. I think that's a problem too.
I also think there's too many. Like going through everything I was going through last night, like it was at minimum 4 or 5 case hits per product.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, in my opinion, I think that's too much. I think there should just be the one chase or 1 or 2 chases.
So basically, go back to the rules of journalism, right? Yeah. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes you just got to keep it simple. And when there's just too many case hits out there, you know, sometimes basically you want quantity over quality. Quality over quantity. That's what you want. Mm-hmm. Quantity over quality. No, opposite. I don't know why
quality.
I can't get it. Yeah, quality over quantity. And it seems like some of these products, Upper Deck is just trying to put out as many case hits as they possibly can, but then get, you know, worked up when people don't appreciate them or don't know about them or, you know, don't treat them as rare as they are, or the values don't match up with how rare of case hits they are. I think part of it is just their own fault for, you know, and there's many reasons for it. Like, what are some of the products you're talking about that have just too many case hits? Like, what did you uncover that made you think of that?
Well, I knew already that Fleer Metal had 6 or 7, and they're all like die cuts, but they also have inserts that are die cuts that are like 1 per box. So, like, for example, this Hot Shots, like this is a case hit. This is a Shane Wright rookie case hit.
That's a case hit?
This is a case hit, yeah. Or I think it's 1 in 3.5 cases or something.
Really?
Yeah, so I wrote 1 in 2.5 cases. So, but it looks like all the other inserts in Fleer that are all die cuts.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's so many die cuts in Fleer Metal that are all 1 in 2 boxes, 1 in 3 boxes. So there's just nothing separating them, I feel, too.
Well, and
from other cards.
And that's to go along with all the parallels that we have in a lot of this stuff too. Yeah. Right? Like stuff that's numbered to 50 and then 199 and 99 and 299 and 399 and 899, 999. Right? Like it goes on top of the parallels too, right? Like stuff that's considered a hit out of 50. So, you know, over the weekend I picked up we'll talk about metal. So here's this Net Deposits, really cool insert here, Net Deposits, but this one it's numbered to 25. Like that would be considered a case hit, right? Like a card that's numbered to 25, that'd be a case hit. But like it's a very undervalued card. This one I think is undervalued because I think it's a sick card. I don't know if you can
those are beautiful cards.
Like you can't really see it all that well, but there's a really cool kind of wavy touch to it. There's some good texture to it, I guess. But yeah, like stuff like that, like there's just so much that you can get. And sometimes you just got to keep it a little more simple, right? And market those that only have a few that are considered case hits and market the hell out of them. Like that's what I think that maybe Upper Deck should consider with some of their products.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was like, even I was going through everything and there was some that didn't have the odds listed. So like they could have been case hits also. I don't know because it didn't say, but you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're talking about that Easter eggs, right? So
animations, yeah.
These Fanimations, right? Like these are extremely hard to pull. Like these are multi cases to hit. They were Easter eggs for a few years. Now I think they're staples. But they are case hits and they're very hard to pull. Like this in a PSA 10 it's like a pop 6, right?
Yeah, and they're not even on the checklist.
And they're not even on the checklist. They were Easter eggs, right? Yeah. And I've heard multiple times that Upper Deck wants to get away from the Easter egg. They want to be able to tell people what's in their product and get people excited for it, which I think is great. And moving forward,
sure.
I think they want to be doing that, which is why maybe you don't have as many Easter eggs popping up anymore. It's because they're telling you what's in there, which I think is great. That's what we need to see. But they do a better job of getting that information out to the people. They can't just assume that everyone's going to look at the checklist ultimately. And it feels like that's what they do. Like they put in a lot of work. Like the Gong Show has their product managers show up on their podcast all the time, and they're great conversations. You know, I listen to the Gong Show all the time, and you know, like Billy Cilio comes on and he talks about the behind the scenes work that goes into it, and you know, the thought process from the people at Upper Deck, and you know, they put a lot of work into their products. I think that they just the product development, I think, is there. For the most part, it's the marketing that they severely lack. That is the biggest problem as to why I think the hockey card hobby specifically it trails and doesn't have as much hype, or at least doesn't have as much awareness for their big hits, their case hits, than the other products do in the other sports.
Yeah, I think it also has a little bit to do with like hockey's popularity in North America, maybe the world. A little bit.
Like, I think that has to do with the price factor.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
The price factor, I think, is a reason for that. But I'll give you a couple of examples of when Upper Deck did good and did right when it came to marketing, and it's worked. There's an example right now, actually. I don't know if you saw, but there's the Alex Ovechkin rookie. It was the Alex Ovechkin buyback rookie auto. Yeah, his Young Guns that was put. There was 8 of them, and it's numbered to 8, and they were put in extended. And it's a massive chase. Huge. They marketed the crap out of that, and everyone knew that this was going to be in there. And it was a big campaign that they put, and that's what everyone was chasing on day one, right? The Bedard hunt. And someone found it. As of now, I think only one has been ripped open, and it's made its way onto Slab Sharks, and it's currently on auction, and it will be sold on Thursday. But as of the recording of this podcast, it's currently 5 to 8, Tuesday, June 10th, and it is $26,100 is where this auction is at on eBay. And that's, to me, because this was marketed properly and people want this, and they made it into a big deal.
Yes.
And I think it's proof that it works when it's marketed properly and there's awareness of these cards. It works, and it drives up the hype, and the hype drives the hobby. And another example is the Bedard one of one gold Young Gun. Right? Gold Outburst. It's never been found, but man, there was $1 million bounty on that card. $1 million bounty on
David
that card
Adams,
from David Adams. And there was so much hype around that card. People in the States who don't normally break hockey were breaking boxes left, right, and center looking for this thing. Like
Backyard Breaks is doing it.
Backyard Breaks is doing it. They don't break hockey ever. No, they probably would butcher the hell out of Ovechkin's name and any other name that is not like Cam York, essentially, or Austin Matthews. Like, they would butcher everything that's from Europe. But there was a massive chase for it. And it's because they marketed it properly. I think if they did that for more things, and they did that for some of these specialty inserts, and they marketed it well, I think that it would drive up more interest in some of these insert case hits that aren't autos or aren't RPAs, but still, you know, can be considered desirable and valuable to the hockey card community.
Yeah, definitely. We were just talking about OV's market being down, and now this card's at $26,000.
Yeah.
And like, I don't normally rip flagship, and I bought a box just to rip the OV. Like,
how'd that go? How'd that go for you?
It was not very good. Not very good.
Any decent Young Guns at least?
No, there was no. It was a bad box.
No Jacob Dobish.
No Dobish.
Can you believe that guy's still selling for like $50-$60?
Yeah, I think I looked yesterday. It was between, it was like 40 to like 55, 60.
Yeah.
It was wild.
He's young guns for the Montreal Canadiens goaltender. Like he didn't even have that great of numbers this year. Like he got off to a hot start, but didn't really do all that well at the end. Didn't have a great playoff either. And somehow Montreal is getting behind this guy. I don't know if they think he's like the next Carey Price, but I think it's literally more likely that Jacob Dobish winds up with a $2 sticker on it in 5 years than a $20 sticker. Like that's where I'm at with this guy. Like I can't fathom the fact that this thing 2 weeks nearly after release is still fetching $60. When did you say Will Smith, who was like the Chase Young Guns, is in that range? Like,
yeah, he's currently doing, I think I was looking at 60 to 70, maybe a couple at 75.
Yeah. So like in that market, who are the other young guys that we're looking at though that were in like the 60 range? Like Kirill Kaprizov?
Oh, you mean in other years? Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to think of guys like how ridiculous it is that Dobish is $60. Like Kaprizov is like a $60 young gun.
Tavares, like in that range kind of thing.
And then stars.
And then he's like Dobish is higher than like Ottinger and Hellebuck young guns.
Make that make sense.
Like Ottinger's a $10 young gun.
Make that make sense.
Yeah.
Brandon. Make that make sense.
I've been trying to think about it all night. So,
well, hype drives the hobby. There's a lot of hype in Montreal right now. Actually, Upper Deck put out the what Series 1 is going to look like next year.
Yeah,
and for the canvas out or for the Young Guns outburst, the silver outburst, did you see who they used?
No, I missed that.
Nah.
Oh, it was what's his name? I can't remember. Say his name. I know what it is.
Ivan Demidov.
Demidov, yeah, Montreal.
That guy is going to he's gonna break the hobby. I think the first week, dude, the Demidov hype when that guy broke onto the scene this year in Montreal was insane. Insane. Like I think this guy's young gun will probably be like $300 out of the gate.
I'm pretty sure they made a song about him. Probably. Like Montreal fans. I'm pretty sure they recorded a song about him before he even got brought up, like 3 days before.
I could see that being the case. Upper Deck Ice comes out today, actually. Any ice case hits, Brandon? Did you happen to come across that information?
Yeah, there's 3 that I saw. Some were like not listed or anything, but there's the Snowflake autos, which are 1 per case, which are rookies and vets. There's the Go to Work insert, 1 in 2 cases.
Okay.
And then there's the ice shelves, 1 in 2 cases.
So I'm pretty sure I saw the Go to Work Upper Deck or the Go to Work. Let me see what these look like. Because they had them last year too, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I think you're right, yeah. It's one of those case hits, and you need 2 cases. You gotta buy 2 cases to sell this thing. But it's one of those case hits that are like, you wouldn't realize that it's a case hit unless you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think both of them, the ice shelves too. Like, it just looks like another insert.
Yeah, like it's so bizarre. Like I'm trying to pull it up here, and for some reason Google's not working for me. Maybe check it out on eBay. Go to Work Upper Deck. Go to Work Upper Deck. There we go. Let's spell that properly. I'm not even. It's not even pulling up for me for some reason. But anyways, yeah. Like I did see. I can't remember where it was, but I did see online, and it just looks like a regular insert, just a regular basic insert. But it's not. They're case hits.
Yeah, 1 and
2 cases. You need 2 cases to pull one of them. Is that going to reflect in the pricing? Probably not. Probably not. But it's 24.25 Upper Deck Ice and Celebrini hunting, I suppose. That's what you'll be doing, hunting for those Celebrinis. I'm sure there's Celebrini autos, and that'll probably be an ice and some short prints, some numbered cards and whatnot. Ice isn't my favorite product. I'll say that. It's not one that I'm rushing out to buy a box of ice. No. Parkhurst Champions comes out next week. That one, maybe a little Parkhurst Champions, but
I I remember when they used to put the Ice Premier rookies in the SBA boxes, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just nuts.
Ice, yeah. The Ice Premier rookies, the ones that were numbered to 99, those used to be massive hits.
Huge.
And they fetched money. Like McDavid's year, I remember. I used to have a Bo Horvat PC who was 14, 15, and I remember his ice was so expensive.
Yeah.
And I remember I wanted to buy it for my PC, and I just never ended up pulling the trigger. I could probably get it for pretty cheap now.
Probably.
He's, not really hobby relevant much anymore, but also the fact that people just don't really appreciate ice like they used to. No. But yeah, that's going to happen again if you don't market your products properly.
It's true.
People aren't going to love them. But I do remember those ice crystals. They were cool, right? They were like see-through, like a hard plastic.
Yeah, the crystals are nice.
Yeah, they were really cool. All right, Brandon, let's get to some pickups this past weekend. We were both at a show. I had a bunch of pickups. I've showed a couple of them off so far on the show. Did you pick up anything at that show?
At the show, no. I did a lot of selling and
you did, but you flipped it at the show.
Yeah, I picked up a Dougie Gilmore auto from I can't remember what product it was from. Ultimate.
Yeah.
Which is super nice, but then I traded it for, I can't say the word here because Mike will get mad at me.
Oh, Pokemon.
For Pokemon.
Pokemon. Yeah.
But then
people.
Yeah, but then I was on Facebook and I saw that there was a garage sale, impromptu garage sale, she said, in my area. So I rushed home after the show and there was this big binder of hockey cards. It was like 20 pages of just Series 1 base. Yeah. And at the end there was inserts and a couple Young Guns, and right at the end there was 3 Young Guns. There was Dylan Cousins, Tim Stutzel, and Stuart Skinner. I only have these 2 right now. But Skinner is I don't know where the Skinner went. I threw it out after last night's game. No, I didn't.
Did you rip it? You just ripped it. Said, this guy's a bum. It's a worthless card now.
I know I should. But yeah, I picked that up for a decent price at a garage sale. I love garage sailing, so that was fun. Yeah,
garage sales are a good time. I've actually had a couple of decent collectibles pickups, a couple of decent hockey pickups, some memorabilia stuff. Garage sales are a good time. I will say that. I picked up quite a few. I did some good buying at the show this past weekend, but decided to buy into the Bedard or the McDavid craze right now. Grabbed a O-Pee-Chee rookie rainbow foil, graded PSA 9. Already showed the Barkov Animation 10, which is pretty sweet. This is the guy you were trying to remember earlier.
Yes, I was right.
Yeah, Eetu Luosterainen. Bought a Cup RPA from Eetu Luosterainen.
He's playing well.
Excellent right now. Yeah. He set up Bennett on that beautiful goal the other night. Yeah, he's played really, really well. What else did I pick up? Oh, here's another thing that's like this is a case hit. Like it's Gen Z from Metal Universe, Gen Z Gold rookie, number to 50.
The Gen Z is the case hit, or the
gold. Like it's a gold variation, right? Like it's a case hit, but it's
100%. Yeah,
I'd never heard of this card.
Never seen it. No.
Or the gold variations until I had it in my hand. It's just another one of those things. So it's just like need to do a little bit better with marketing. I got a Blue Line auto, Nick Suzuki, number to 35 for Nikki Suzuki, and this is what's that?
Montreal. It doesn't hurt.
Montreal, of course. Adam Fantilli, a player who I'm pretty big on. Picked up an ultimate RPA of Adam Fantilli, number to 49. I hate the auto, though. I can't stand the autographs from these kids these days. Like, I get it. They got to sign a billion things nowadays. Everything has a sticker auto, it appears.
Yeah.
But it's just so garbage. So garbage compared to what it used to be. I don't want to sound old man yelling at cloud, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of what they're looking like these days. And then one of I would say the more bigger names in the hobby right now, or maybe not right now, but in the last few months, he's been one of the bigger players in the hobby. I picked up a Matthew Nyes Young Guns Deluxe.
Ooh,
that's my guy. Yeah, Young Guns Deluxe, numbered to 250. I mean, I know both of us, like anytime we see Nyes, we're usually picking it up because there's no one hotter on the Maple Leafs right now than Matthew Nyes. And lots of people want his cards and his rookie stuff, and it just flies out of the showcase. At the show, at the expo, both of us, we would pick up a Nyes and be in the showcase for 3 minutes and it's gone.
Instantly, yep.
Instantly.
Young guns were just flying out my case.
Yeah, flying out at like 40, 50, 60 bucks. It didn't matter. You would lose one. You'd sell it for 40. You'd be like, man, I should probably up the price to like 50 bucks. Sold at 50.
Yeah.
It's like, geez, these things are selling like hotcakes. It was, yeah. So Matthew Nye, hot player, someone who I'll probably be looking to pick up throughout the summer. And I'm hoping he signs an extension over the summer, a long-term extension with the Maple Leafs. Nice. I think that's my exit strategy with this. Like, I don't think it's a long-term hold. I think once he signs that extension, I think that will, again, drum up some hype around his market. That's probably when I'll look to move it. I find we don't talk about exit strategies enough. We talk about buying cards. We don't really talk about how to sell, how to, execute, work in the market like that. But that's my strategy for that one. Just so
it's a good strategy, I think.
People know. Oh, thank you.
I think it's a good idea.
What's your strategy on that Stuart Skinner that you can't find?
I think I'm just gonna leave it where it is.
What, in the trash?
It might have fell in there. I don't know.
You're insane.
But
any card shows this weekend? I know we got I'm just looking it up to see if we got anything.
This weekend is the Collecticon on on Sunday. On Father's Day. I was going, but now I have to work, so I will not be.
Oh, you're not going?
No, I have to work. I got booked for work.
Wow, what a loser. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry, some of us have real jobs.
The Run the Hobby.
Yes,
Run the Hobby shows this weekend as well. Nothing on Saturday, eh? Interesting.
No, dead Saturday for sure.
We're getting into the summer. Where shows kind of die down a little bit. Next week, though, both of us are going to be set up at the M&L card show in St. Catharines at the Holiday Inn there. And rumor has it they've added a second room, Brandon. I don't know if you saw that, but they've added a second room.
Yeah, I heard 30 more tables.
Yeah, so it should be a big show. So if anyone wants to make their way down to St. Catharines next Sunday, should be a big show. 2 rooms. I think usually there's like 30 to 40 tables typically.
Yeah.
So there probably is going to be like 50 to 60, 70 tables. So should be a nice little show for anyone who wants to go. It's usually a big hockey show too. So our listeners would be perfect for you. And come say hi to Brandon and I. Say what's up. We'll be down there. And I mean, if you want any of these cards that I just brought up, they will be for sale next weekend.
Free entry too. So
free entry. So you don't got to pay that $5 and whatnot. You can just show up, free parking, free entry. Just spend a couple hours looking at some hockey cards. It's usually a good time. So that's where Brandon and I are going to be next weekend for that show. All right, buddy. Anything else you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
Nothing really. I did want to show you this. It's not hockey related, but we were talking about bad autos, and I don't know if you saw the Frank Gore Jr. auto on Topps Chrome.
I read somewhere that he was like getting teased by his teammates about it.
Yeah, so someone was teasing about it, and he was saying it's fake, but this is it. Can you see it?
Not really. It just says FGJ.
Yeah, it just says like Frank George, like his initials.
Yeah, FGJ, Frank Gore Jr. And
he was
printed.
Yeah, and he was saying like that's not my real auto, that's fake, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that if it's fake, that's crazy.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a whole can of worms to open up at the end of a show here, Brandon.
I know.
Maybe next week we can get into that, see if there's any tomfoolery happening in the hockey card hobby. Because I mean, even like Tyson Forster, same thing.
Yeah, that's
what
horrible.
The hell is that? Like it looks like Unknown, the Pokemon Unknown.
It actually does.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, it actually does.
Right? Like some of these kids, man, smarten up. Let's get some good autos out there. Not to be old man yelling at a cloud, but
no, I agree.
We're paying a lot of money for these cardboard. The least they could do, they get paid a lot of money to sign this cardboard.
Yeah,
the least they could do is give me more than a caricature letter. Like
I don't even think it says TF on it.
I don't. It literally does not say that. Like this is nothing.
No,
This is
just
nothing.
a squiggle.
It is unknown the Pokemon. So that's what it is. Anyway, rant over. I'm sure there'll be more rants to get into next week and throughout the whole summer. Anyways, Brandon, happy to have you back and to chat. Thought it was a fun discussion we got to have. You have any final thoughts about our case hit conversation?
I just wish what we were saying. I just wanted them to be more marketed and people know about them. That's it.
Yeah, and again, to do that, that's on Upper Deck, right? That's on Upper Deck, and whether that's maybe they have to get a little bit more into the breaking culture and get more into the hype beast culture, and it's not necessarily, what a lot of the hockey card old school guys are all about. I will say,
the Beckett guys.
But if you want to bring in new eyes. Right, you want to bring in new eyes, you want to bring in new money into the hobby. That's, sometimes you got to do stuff.
Look at Fanatics, for example. They have their own breaking app, Fanatics Live, right?
Like, yeah, and who owns Fanatics?
Well, Tops. Well, they own. They own Tops, and right now they're gonna have basketball and all that.
Right, and they own football. Tops, and they own all these, prisms and inserts and all that stuff. So. All the refractors and whatnot, like that's all product of them, and they've come up with it, and everybody knows it's well marketed. There's lots of awareness, and I just hope that shows like this, like the GOG show, but we need help from Upper Deck themselves to market 100%. These cards properly, and give these cards the respect they deserve. Like again, Upper Deck works hard to create these products, no doubt. They got to do a little bit better job of letting us know what they have and why it's important, why it's special. That's what I think lacks in this hockey card hobby compared to some of the other case hits, those insert case hits that you see in football and basketball and baseball and such.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. I think we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for listening to today's podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and support the show. Again, you can subscribe right here on YouTube. You can also subscribe and listen to it via audio on Spotify as well for you on the go listeners. All right, that does it for us today. We'll be back Wednesday with another episode of the Hockey Card Haven podcast.